Now our windows have the same kind of setup, but we're going to wait till we get a bit higher on our windows because it makes it hard to put the next piece of timber in. So we'll put the big piece across the top and then we'll put our bracing support pieces in. You may notice that we haven't put these boards up here between where the door goes and the window goes. What happens if we put the pieces straight up on top, it's easy for them to blow over. But what we've got here is a beautiful solid piece of infill here. We put the next layer on and then we're going to tap this across just gently. It doesn't have to be tapped right in now. And what that'll do is make it easier, so when we put our pieces of timber up, it'll stop them falling off or someone leaning against them and then falling over, which could be dangerous. And we're going to put the same piece in the other side, just like this. And that keeps our boards nice and straight, and we secure our windows and doors to those. We're up to the apex stage now, and there's an example of what they look like completed together. What we do is pull them apart into a couple of separate stages. There's the main part of the peak, and that's going on to the next wall. They're quite heavy, so it's a good idea to pull them apart and make them a bit lighter. You can see the screws down there. We've got the torque screws, and if you pull a couple of those apart, it'll make it a lot lighter. If you've got some really big blokes, then sure enough, we can put it together ourselves. And when we put this part together, we've actually pulled it apart and done it in two pieces, so it's not too heavy to lift up. You want to be careful when it gets up there that it's not wobbly like this, and all about safety, making sure you're safe. So what you can do is put a piece of timber up here and up the other side to hold it so it doesn't fall over like this, and you put an F-clamp around to hold it on. Don't need to do that, but just in case you're a bit worried, that's a good idea to do it, just for safety. Then you can see what we've done here. We've got our boards going out here. We've got our posts coming out down the front. And what we've done is we're just resting it on top of the deck here. So we can see it just resting on the top of the deck here, and these are adjustable, and they can adjust up and down to bring the post up and down. As your cabin settles, after about a month after you finish building your cabin, after it settles, you want to screw these down and let them down a bit to align with the rest of the cabin settling, because the whole cabin will settle about 30 mil. Up here, you want to just drill a couple of pilot holes and just put a quick screw in. Later you'll put a bigger screw in, a more solid screw, but right now it's just to hold it in place. And put your level on it, make sure it's vertical, and you can move your post around. Now, if I could show you this, it might work. Underneath here, you've got a plate, and that plate just slots up and in, screws in there, and then we're going to screw it down to the deck. So you need to put these posts in place before you finish putting the apex on. Once you put the apex on, we're going to put screws down into here. So each of these apexes, we'll put a screw down in there, a 200mm batten screw, put a 125 there, a 200mm batten screw through there. We'll show you that in a bit more detail when we've got all the roof beams going through. So what you've got to do is get this special adjustable post, and we're going to take your gold screws, these you'll find in your pack, and we're going to, there's a hole in here behind this, and we'll slot it in, screw it on. Then this piece, we can use that to mark where we're going to place it. So you can see here we've got the bottom part, we've put it right on the corner. If your cabin is square and everything's square and correct, then that's exactly where it's going to go, flush with the outside of the front there. If not, you'll have to tap it across a little bit, working off your pole to try and you get your spirit level on the side to straighten her up, make sure it's straight. And it's a good idea then to pre-drill these holes, because it's a bit difficult to get in on an angle to put your screw in there. There's two different ways to do this. You can just force the screw in on a bit of an angle. The other way is we've got a special little tool we can use to screw the screw down. But the other thing we like to do is we're going to put a block in underneath this corner, underneath, to give you some extra strength to put this screw into. So we'll do that in a moment. So to get your measurement of your post exactly correct, what we're going to do is grab the rail here. What we've done is we've set it up just on some packers to make it easier to bring it up off the deck, and we're going to bring it up to the level height of the post here. By pushing it hard up against here, what we're going to do in a moment is screw directly straight through on that angle into this timber here, and we're just raising it up to the correct height. And then we're going to pull our post out just a little bit, like that, and that's what we're going to use to work out this space. One at the top, one at the bottom. And we'll put one in the middle.